Have you ever felt like your B-roll is falling a little bit flat? Like it's missing that little bit of cinematic secret sauce? Well, what if you could take any B-roll shot and make it more interesting? What if you could take any location and make it more epic? Or get rid of distracting things in the background ruining your shot? What if you could extend, modify, or even add quality to your footage with just a few clicks in post? What if I told you almost every shot
in that intro was either enhanced or changed using AI, and some were fully AI generated because I really didn't feel like getting arrested flying an FPV drone through the streets of downtown Toronto? Thanks Artlist for sponsoring this video and for giving me early access to the new video generator tool. I'm gonna show you guys exactly how I did this and how easy it is to take your storytelling to the next level, even if you don't have the budget to make crazy big sets or get these epic locations. Because I don't believe that AI is here to replace us. I think it's a tool that we can use to better tell our stories. Just like the latest and greatest gimbal or that incredible drone or whatever editing program you're using. Do more with less. And this whole video was an experiment for me to see how does a hybrid workflow work for filmmakers. What do I mean by a hybrid workflow? Essentially combining traditional filmmaking techniques and these new tools we have because of the breakthroughs in AI. I wanted to see how far I could take this hybrid workflow in immersing myself in this crazy brutalist architecture city that clearly doesn't exist. I have very little to no CGI skills and I had very little time to do this experiment. So the question was, can I make this fake brutalist city? And honestly, I was blown away at how well this worked out. Literally, as I was doing this technique and getting these results, I could not help but send them to all my friends and my brothers, and everybody was kind of freaking out, saying how convincing it was. Is it perfect? Definitely not. But I wanted to show you how I did this and the positives and negatives of this kind of hybrid workflow for filmmakers. But first we gotta answer, why did I do this experiment? Well, my plan is to make a feature film this year. And if I'm gonna make a full-on feature film movie, it's probably not gonna be with much money or time. So I'm curious, can I use this hybrid workflow, almost like map painting in the early Star Wars movies, to create a world that's much bigger and more impressive than I would have budget or time for? So how did I do this? I'll run you through the general workflow first, and then we'll go through a specific example so you can see it real time how I did it. I came up with the idea of building this brutalist world because I know that AI tools would have an easier time with that sort of style. And there's some cool brutalist buildings in Toronto that I can use as a really great starting point. It's really important to know how these tools work and the limitations so that you can get the best results. Then I went downtown Toronto, grabbed my one wheel, and I just started exploring. I was looking for anything that looked like a cool concrete building or structure, and I would use those as the central building block of each shot. Once I found a cool brutalist building, I found a cool angle, and I could move around and kind of be immersed in that space, not having to worry about, having to key myself out or anything like that because I'm actually there. Everything was locked off on a tripod in this case. And if you've never done this, by the way, just gone out there and practiced cinematography and framing, I highly recommend it. It's really fun. It's like a little bit scary for some reason to just go out there and do it, but it's really fun. And I was just using my iPhone as my monitoring tool like I am right now. So I could see, where I am and kind of frame myself up. All solo filmmaking. It was just me out there, me, a camera, and a one wheel. I filmed a few clips in each spot, and then I came home and brought those into DaVinci Resolve, exported a frame from each of them, and then I would bring that frame into Photoshop. And this is where the magic starts to happen. Think of yourself as like a map painter where you can add, extend, modify your image to better suit your story. If you don't know, like back in the day, they would literally have people painting these backgrounds for like Star Wars movies, for example. The spaceship, the crazy thing, that's all painted, hand painted, and then they film one section of it, and then they combine the part that they filmed and the map painting. So think of this now as the map painting portion of the workflow, just made way easier and faster using AI tools. In this case, for me, it was this weird brutalist city I was trying to create. So for example, I found this really weird factory thing that was perfect as a really great starting point, like almost more than I could ask for. The main, most important element is all there and real, and I'm immersed in it. It's a really cool wide shot, but there's a lot of stuff in the frame that just doesn't fit, and I kind of get lost in all the noise, all the random stuff in the frame. This construction happening at the bottom left, the random buildings, this little art installation on the bottom right, the monument thing, and even just the trees felt like it would be a little bit more interesting and brutalist without them. So what do? I just start selecting areas and start working on the image. So I've started with the bottom right monument thing and I hit generative fill. And sometimes I'm adding a prompt here like brutalist architecture, and sometimes I'm just letting it decide for itself. The better your original base elements are, for example, this really cool structure, the easier time Photoshop has of extending that look. If you're having to start from scratch, it's way harder to get a really nice result. That's why this hybrid workflow works so much better and is much more convincing. Okay, cool. That looks much better now. We have this weird concrete ramp looking thing going on. Much better than the monument because that didn't really fit the brutalist vibe so much. Get rid of the trees at the top right in the middle. It's just not really fitting the vibe. Hit generative fill. Perfect. I didn't like this metal light post thing or the writing on the factory. It just like, I don't know, it felt cooler if it was just kind of mysterious. And so just got rid of that. Didn't even have to prompt it anything, just generative fill. Then I chose the metal structure on the left of the image, erased that using generative fill. And then let's get to cleaning up the construction and kind of the skyline here. It needs to be a little bit more brutalist. So we select all that, clean it up. And actually, I was curious, like, what else can we get for these background buildings? Is there something cooler? And so I prompted it with, some brutalist architecture, concrete building type stuff. And this is way cooler, super weird and brutalist. This is like better than I would have even imagined it, in my opinion. Again, it's not perfect, but because the main structure is all real, we can get away with a lot more when it's not so perfect around the edges and stuff. And then lastly, these wooden planters, they gotta go. Let's get rid of those. We want more concrete. That's better. Then I export the image and I bring it back to DaVinci and I line it up with the actual footage that we filmed and your new generative fill map painting image. Sometimes I actually put the video clip onto difference composite mode to see better how to line them up. And now look at the before and after. The original shot was kind of cool, but I just got lost in the clutter of all the stuff. And now I stand out like crazy and we get this really super weird, wild location that sort of exists, but also definitely doesn't. It's the location I wish I had, but instead I decided to make it. Here's another example. This is my shot before, and then let's go wild. That's crazy. I wish this location existed. It would have been really fun to shoot there. But again, it doesn't. I didn't have that location. Here's another shot, which is like a really nice, cool shot, but it's not like that epic or crazy. So let's see what we can do. Bam. Towering brutalist structure behind me. Like, again, this doesn't exist. I mean, it sort of does, but it doesn't. I'm just enhancing the location that I found. And then let's go through a specific example from start to finish. But sometimes you can't get the shot you want. For example, with this intro, it would be breaking the law to take an FPV drone and fly it through downtown Toronto. I cannot do that. Plus, we don't have a whole city of brutalist structures, so it wouldn't have even fit this brutalist city vibe, even if I could fly an FPV drone, which I'm not gonna. So instead, I used Artlist's video generator. Basically, you can generate an image with all these different styles. I chose to go photorealistic on this one and played around with a bunch of brutalist city skyline and brutalist building prompts. They even help you prompt the image with this enhance button if you aren't used to prompting images or video from scratch. I typically like to choose 3 images at a time just to see the different variations and get more ideas of what would be best. And then you hit generate. Just like that, we have some really interesting images. Once you have an image, you can hit animate and it will automatically give you a prompt to make that image a video clip. Or you can go in there yourself and give it your own prompt. Choose the duration of the clip, the quality, and then hit animate. Is it perfect every time? Nope, definitely not. But without a tool like this, I would have 0 chance of getting an FPV clip in downtown Toronto trying to do this brutalist city. So with this tool, I was able to build out the kind of world I was envisioning in this experiment. Thank you, Artlist, for sponsoring this video and for providing us filmmakers with tools we need. Try Artlist free right now and definitely check out the new video generator tool. You can generate some images and video for free to just try it out. Okay, let's do another example from start to finish. I'll go through the nitty-gritty and I'll talk through my thinking and how I do it. We have this cool city hall in Toronto that's very brutalist. Fun fact, it was designed by a Finnish architect named Viljo Revel. So we have a great starting point here again, but there's a bunch of like modern glass buildings and I feel like this shot could be a bit wider, but this was the widest I could get. There was like a water feature pond right behind me, so I couldn't go any further back. And I was on my widest lens, so I couldn't get a wider shot. That's okay, we can change things. So often what I like to do is just make the canvas size bigger first, just to give myself room to play around with. And at the same time, it's making my footage 8K, just adding quality to it. So this is super easy. I'm in 4K right now, or I filmed the footage in 4K. So I just add 4800 to the width, and then 2700 to the height. Bam, great. We got some extra real estate to play around with now. So for this shot, I can't really extend the bottom because I come into frame from the bottom and I can't generate myself moving. But let's make it wider on the sides and on the top. All right, this is definitely probably more than I need, but why not have a little extra? We're gonna have a little fun with this shot. I hope this works out because I haven't seen what this shot is gonna turn out like yet. Now, we could just try to select all the negative space and then see what generative fill does first. So why don't we just try that? Let's go generative fill, brutalist, city, architecture, city, skyline, moody, film, like, cinematic. I'm not claiming to be the best prompter. I'm just giving it all the words. I'm expecting this not to be that great. Okay, it's something. It's definitely pretty weird on the sides, but the building in the middle looks pretty good. This one is super weird on the sides. The buildings are just real bad. And then this one is even worse and added this. But all 3 of them did a great job of finishing off the building in the middle, which that is like the most important task here. Is I wanted the whole building to show because I wasn't able to get the whole thing if I wanted to get myself riding through it. Let's generate again. You can always hit generate again. That's the best thing about these tools is like, it doesn't cost you anything to just try it again and see what else you get, and maybe you change the prompt a little bit and you might come up with a better result. So this result is interesting. It made it night sky, stars in there. Okay, this one is pretty bad also on the sides. Ooh, this, I did not have this in my mind at all. But that is really cool. now we have this like cool frame, and this shot that I thought was gonna be like way too wide, now this kind of actually works. This is pretty interesting. You can see like how fun it is to do this sometimes. You come up, you have an idea of like what you could get, but then you kind of let it do its thing and it comes up with things that you would have never imagined. Now, there is a lot of issues in here still. You can't just like leave it as like this. Some of these buildings like on the bottom left and right, first of all, they don't look very brutalist in my opinion. And secondly, they just look like a mush of pixels. They're not very good. So I like this as a starting point. Let's go in here. We're just gonna grab the lasso tool and we're just gonna start with, let's start with, for example, the right side here. So I wanna be careful. I ride kind of to the side, but I think I'm pretty clear there. I'm being mindful of where my actual shot starts and ends, but trying to get rid of the parts that I don't like. Brutalist, architecture, concrete, buildings. Let's try that. Let's see what it comes up with. Okay, terrible. Interesting, but terrible. Terrible. Let's give it another go. Not what I'm looking for. Okay, that's interesting, but too mushy. Not. Okay, I'm gonna try just generating with no prompt. A lot of times Photoshop does a really good job of like actually, you know, figuring out for itself kind of what's going on in the scene. I don't know exactly how this tool works, but it works very well. If there was even one of these shots was like a close enough, then we could just start from there and start modifying it, but none of these are good enough yet, so let's just keep prompting. If you haven't used generative fill, it is incredible in Photoshop. I use this all the time for thumbnails and different use cases, and this just happens to be one of them. Okay, this is interesting. I like this concrete block that it created. I don't like the building behind. It looks kind of like these middle ones, but not enough. I don't like the look of it. So I'm gonna start with this section. I'm gonna try to redo that and let's see what it does. Okay, that kind of works. That's better. Oh yeah, let's just go with that. That's like weird and looks believable. Now, I don't like this back building like I said, so let's try and get rid of this. Let's just give it no prompt and see what it does. Okay, so first one just gets rid of it. Okay, all of them just got rid of it, which might be cool. I think I'm gonna go with this because I like that the middle building is very prominent. I like that, that's great. Let's give this side a go and let's see if we can make this better. So again, we're gonna say brutalist architecture building with lots of concrete. Kind of works. All right, let's some sort of parking structure. Okay, that is interesting. It's weird, a little wonky. It's a little out of this world, but I kind of like it. I think I might just go with this. I like this. So we went from this original, this shot, which is, it's cool. It's, you know, the building is cool, but again, I wanted a wider shot and it's nothing crazy, to now this shot, which is like, this does not exist. This is like out of this world. To have a shot like this is incredible. And you guys just saw it. I made it in a couple of minutes. Yes, we could keep working on this. I think I'm just gonna leave it like this. Again, because the middle part where your eyes are gonna be, you know, focused on, where I'm riding through, that's all real. I think this will work really nicely. Honestly, I feel like this workflow is so good. I think I should be doing it way more often, even just in like a subtle way, just to add a little bit or take away some distracting things. The results are not perfect, but dang, you can do some interesting storytelling very fast and with essentially no budget. And if you're gonna try this out, I wanna see your generation. So if you try it out, use the hashtag Matti AI hybrid workflow, because I want to see what you're doing. Show some of the before and after so we can all learn from the strengths and the limitations of these tools. And that's super important to know what these tools can actually do and what they can't do, because they can't make everything for you. They can't just make you a feature film. That does not happen. I don't think that's probably ever gonna happen. So first off, why did I choose Brutalist? I knew that these AI tools, Generative Fill and Artlist tool, would have an easier time with a Brutalist architecture style versus something else that's very intricate and has to be like perfect. Brutalist can be weird and it's a lot of concrete, so it's much easier. Also, to do this, it is the easiest on tripod, no movement. You can get away sometimes with having movement and then tracking in the kind of pieces that you're creating. Also, make sure to lock your focus. Focus breathing or the focus just changing will be very hard for you to then recreate in the matte painting portion of your image. It's easier if your whole body is in the original clip. Then you can kind of just go crazy with the matte painting. If part of your body is cut off in your original clip, then it just limits you a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. Worry about moving parts in your image. For example, if there's a tree moving or cars or anything like that, just be mindful of what things are moving, because you're not gonna be able to add motion to the matte painting portion of what you're doing yet. I think that's going to be coming soon too, but as of this moment, that's a very hard workflow to try and do something like that. And then finally, have a great starting point. If your starting point, like you saw, is good, it's very easy to add to that. If the starting point is not very good and you have to generate everything from scratch, it's just not gonna look as convincing. And I really don't think these AI tools will ever replace us. Yes, they might make some roles obsolete or change other roles in the filmmaking process, but all these tools need you to direct them and to know what's good and what's not, and to have a vision, have a story. These are just tools at your disposal that you can use if you need them, just like a lens or camera or your editing program. I'm not saying that you have to use AI tools, but there are a lot of use cases where if you are not using them, you will be much slower and the end result might not be as good as if you used these AI tools. So I would definitely check them out and figure out ways that might work for your workflow. Even if it's just like removing an ugly orange cone that's just distracting and you don't want it there. Bam, done, easy. Before, just a little thing like that would have been so much harder. So let me know, what did you guys think about this hybrid workflow for filmmakers? Are you gonna be trying this out? Are you gonna be using it? Because I definitely will be. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Bye.